Hello, children. Are you ready for some cutting up and kikiing? Are you ready for a gay old time? Well, I hope you are, because now it's time for Hey Qween with your host, Jonny McGovern!
Hey Qween, come on and spill the tea. Hey Qween, it's just a good old-fashioned kiki. Hey Qween, we're cutting up with Jonny. Hey, 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 hey Qween.
Hello, my mystical, magical miracles, and welcome to another magnificent and monumental episode of with me, your host. This week's episode is going to be monstrous. Our guest today is terminally ghoulish. She came into Dragula season 1 literally kicking and screaming and clawed her creepy way to the top. She's the world's first ever drag supermonster. I'm talking about, of course, the wickedly witchy Vander Von Odd. But before she flies in here on her broom, there's another supernatural force lurking in the Hey Qween studio. She's a wildly witty belle who has everyone under her spell. And like any horror movie, she will make you all shivery and quivery and goes great with a pizza delivery. It's my sissy, Miss Lady Red Couture. That's right, clap for yourself. No studio audience, Lady Red. Oh, honey, you do deserve applause. If we had a studio audience, they would be cheering for your beauty.
I mean, I hope so. It's a lot that goes into this.
That's right, it is. But you said that what you're wearing today is hotter than ever.
It is. It's like pajama material. It feels really good. But then after you get into the lights, it's like a baked potato, you know.
You are a delicious baked potato if you're a baked potato.
Stuff with all the good stuff.
Well, you look great.
Thank you
your
so
bow,
much.
your hair is very just wonderful.
I mean, you know, I'm always feeling inspired.
Yes. And who are you inspired by today, Lady Red?
Today I'm inspired by the one, the only Shirley Chisholm. She was the first black member of Congress, and she was the first black woman to run for president.
Yes, Miss Shirley Chisholm did a lot for moving the movement forward in our country. And even though she passed in 2005, today, we salute her.
Yes.
For more of Lady Red's inspiring black heroes who helped make our country better, check out our social at Hey Qween TV on Instagram. Well, Lady Red, I don't know what Shirley Chisholm would think of our guest today. She probably thinks she was pretty spooky.
I mean, well, considering she was a school teacher, she probably is used to it, you know
You're
what I mean?
right. Well, our guest today is the winner of the very first season of Dragula, which you can see right here on Hey Qween TV. And honey, she is about to serve it up. So we'll be back with the one and only Vander Von Odd right after this very gay break.
Yeah! All right!
The sound of two people clapping. We are back. Today's guest literally exterminated every other girl on her season of Dragula to claw her way to the top, becoming the world's first drag supermonster. I'm so excited and scared a little bit to introduce Vander Von Odd. Yeah.
All right, look at you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, honey. I mean, this look today is perfection.
This old thing. I made it last night.
You made it last night?
Well, I finished it last night, yeah.
Oh my God. See, that is why you were the first winner of Dragula, honey. You got it.
Thank you so much.
Lady Red, are you scared or are you thrilled?
I'm thrilled and a little titillated.
Yes, exactly. Well, Vander, there's so much to talk about, but we've got to get to the tea.
The tea.
So you made a return to Dragula in a very special way on season 3. After taking the crown season 1, you returned as a production designer.
Yeah, I did the production design for season 2 and season 3, and now moving on to season 4 as soon as all these shenanigans are over.
We're used to things being scary in the Boulet Brothers world, but now the real world's really scary.
No, for real, yeah.
What was it like coming back to the set season 2 after winning and seeing the process from a completely different angle?
You know, I mean, the process changed so much from season 1 to season 2 because the budget was just exponentially larger. But returning was really kind of, it was a really full circle moment to participate as a contestant from the inception of the show when it was really just like guerrilla filmmaking, like just you know what that's like.
Yeah,
you know,
I remember you guys filmed the first season of Dragula at Precinct on the corner in the
it was
desert.
like literally anywhere we could stop with a camera and shoot, like we were shooting Dragula. So to go from that and then to jump on as production designer for season 2 and then see the show grow, and then for 3, now being on Netflix and everything, it's all been very full circle. Going into it, I really thought that I was gonna have my redemption moment of seeing these other bitches just like suffer through the competition, but like the crew suffers just as much.
Yes, that's true.
So like I didn't get my like moment, you know.
Now, after you won the crown, your life changed.
Exponentially so, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I literally didn't have a drag career. Like I'd never had a paid booking before Dragula, and then almost immediately after, I was just traveling the country and then eventually, you know, overseas, and it's all been really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you were doing like exposure drag, which is for people outside of LA, is where you do it for exposure.
Yeah, no, for real. Yeah, just doing tips. I did tip slots for like a year and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it must have really blown your mind when people around the world started to know who you were.
I mean, yeah, it was really strange. You know, the lucky thing about being on season 1 for me was that I think a lot of people who go on television, it's like within 48 hours you're famous. It's like wild. For me, it was actually like a very gradual thing to like go under the public eye because Dragula wasn't very well known.
Right.
So like over time, the audience was built up, and so I got to like ease into kind of having eyes on me all the time. So it was kind of an easy process to delve into.
Yeah, because those Drag Race girls, the minute the cast is announced, it's a different story.
Yeah, completely different story. And you know, like drag fans, I should say like online drag fans they're pretty intense and they're pretty cruel.
Yeah, they are. Have you ever faced any of that kind of weird fan outreach where it's loved and hate at the same time?
I've had some weird ones, nothing like crazy, but I have had a couple of weird ones, or like sometimes I'll get photos that like people will see me in public and they'll take like secret photos, and then somehow they're like, I've had people send me photos at Disneyland where they're like, they just caught me prancing around Disneyland, and I'm just like, don't be weird, just come up and say hi.
Right. Now, you also had another sweet gig after Dragula, which is you started to really do a lot of work with Sasha Velour in nightgowns.
Yeah, I started to do the show in New York with her, and then I became a permanent cast member, and now we kind of have like a group of like 5 or 6 people that are the permanent cast that we get together every time we do nightgowns.
And what's it like working with Sasha? She has such a clear vision of what she wants to do, and obviously she saw a lot in you because making you a regular cast member is no small thing.
Yeah, I mean, her vision is incredible, but one thing that I really appreciate about working with the Velours is that they have a theater background. They are like theatrical professionals, so the way they go about, you know, conceptualizing, you know, producing and then staging a show is their approach is just very theatrical, and it's I love doing theater, and I love when drag is in a theater space, and that's what I really love about working with them, is that it's a very sort of streamlined, you know, professional process.
When you're creating something for nightgowns, because it's such a special show, it really allows for a wide variety of emotional things, fun things. What's your process like when you're creating a number for something like nightgowns?
You know, I've never had like a really concise, thought out, or like structured process. Sometimes I'll be inspired by a song and not really know what the concept for it is, and it'll just linger in my mind and something will, you know, mix eventually. Or I'll have a concept but I won't have a song, so I'll just go searching for music, or I'll just have an idea through the day and I'll just like store it in my head and keep it in the back of my mind. And sometimes they just kind of piece themselves together over time, but I don't think I've ever had like a very specific process of like A, B, C, D, and then a number, you know.
And what kind of advice or you know, direction did Sasha give you when you started the show?
One of the really great things about nightgowns, it's called nightgowns because, you know, a nightgown is like a uniform that you wear to sleep. So the concept of nightgowns is that it's a place where people go to dream. You know, it's a place where dreams come alive. So although there is direction on behalf of Jonny and Sasha Velour, they largely kind of allow us to do what we want to do, and I think that's why the show is so diverse, is because it's largely people doing what they do best on their own terms. So you see people really like give you the best of themselves. Yeah.
And the nightgowns became a TV show on Quibi just
Yeah,
recently.
yeah, we're on Quibi now. That was a really wild experience. We were shooting in New York for I think two or 3 weeks.
Wow. And so what was the process of that? Was it just filming a live show, or you guys did, because I haven't seen it?
What's really interesting about it is that every episode, they're like 10-minute episodes, they're short format, and every episode focuses on a specific performer in the cast and their process coming up with conceptualizing, creating the number. And every episode closes with our own number from beginning to end, like the full thing, but shot professionally on stage. So you really get to see, every cast member's process.
And what was that like? Now, I remember you did a number for Nightgowns that was thinking about your family, and it was like a pretty emotional one. Tell me about the making of that number.
Was it the Dollhouse one or the one?
think
that was
so.
Oh yeah, the Dollhouse one.
Yeah.
So I, for many years, had this like recurring nightmare of like my parents dying, and that's something that's always kind of scared the out of me. I got very, very lucky growing up in a small conservative town, having the parents that I did, because they're very open-minded. They love what I do. They love drag. They like go to my shows when they're in LA. And naturally, there's a part of me that's like mortified about not having them at some point. So to kind of exemplify that in a number, it's a number where I wear a dollhouse, like a Victorian dollhouse on my body, and it's painted to look in the original color scheme of the house that I grew up in with my parents. And the idea is that the house is kind of dilapidated and falling apart, but I've like chained it onto me because I don't want to let it go. And the number is kind of about me removing those chains that I've put on myself and dropping the house and sort of allowing a memory to be a memory and letting go of something when it's time to let go. So it's almost like, I guess, going through the motions of mourning something that hasn't necessarily happened, but that may, and it scares the out of me. So I kind of flesh it out on stage.
The type of number that you can only really do somewhere like Nightgowns, where there's people thinking about what they're seeing and allowing for that emotional creative freedom.
Yeah, there's no risk of me slipping on someone's spilled drink
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
full-ass Victorian doll.
Hello, children. Click here, and subscribe. You're welcome.